Welcome to our program, Cancer in Your Life. My name is Michael Jones. I'm a member of a prostate cancer support group and am an advisor to the board of the MAINE Coalition to Fight Prostate Cancer. We are here today to learn more about some of the wonderful support services that exist in Maine to help those on their cancer journey. For many, cancer is a life-changing event that affects your mind and feelings as well as your body, and affects your family in addition to yourself. Often we need help beyond the doctor's office and the hospital to deal with these changes. To talk about these issues, we have assembled a great panel. Our guests today include Mary Dempsey, Assistant Director of the Patrick Dempsey Center of Hope and Healing in Lewiston, who will talk to us about the many services they offer. On Mary's left is Mark Smith, a retired, shall I say, lifelong educator who continues to deal with prostate cancer. And on his left is Michael Reisman, the Executive Director for the Beth C. Wright Cancer Resource Center in Ellsworth. So let's get started. Mary, for those who don't know, where is the Dempsey Center and how did it come about?
Sure, thank you. The Dempsey Center is located at 29 Lowell Street in Lewiston, Maine, on the campus of Central Maine Medical Center. Back in 1997, our mom was diagnosed with a very rare form of ovarian cancer. I had already worked in the hospital for decades in various positions, and I also knew a lot of people. So when mom was diagnosed, I automatically, once I took the door out of my face and figured out the fog and what direction and choices we were going to have for mom, moved forward to get her some pieces that she could make decisions on for her treatment. Within 2 years, mom's cancer came back again, pretty quick. And once again, you take the door out of your face and you move forward and you look at all your options. Within 2 years, the cancer came back for the third time. And at that point, my brother said, we need to create a place where people can go and receive support and health and education and have all of it free. And that's the seed and the idea behind the Dempsey Center and how it actually started. And the free, having the services free and certainly having all the wonderful services that we have now are much more than what we had in the beginning. But that's a little bit of how it started.
What a great story. Michael, how about the Beth C. Wright Center?
It started in 1996 when Beth Wright was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 24. And she went out to see what resources were available to her, and she was in she grew up on Beals Island, a small island off the coast of Maine, and she was diagnosed at Down East Community Hospital. So she was looking for resources that were available, and she found probably none. We say few, but it probably was none. And so she decided that she, with the help of the executive director of the Down East Hospice volunteers, to start a support group for cancer survivors. And in 1998, she started that support group. She then started a foundation called the Choose Life Foundation just before she passed away, actually, as it turned out. And after she passed away, her family and friends took over and were running the foundation. The year after she passed away, they held a benefit walk in Addison, Maine, in which 500 people came to the walk, and they raised $50,000. And that gave funds for the Choose Life Foundation to do their services. A few years later, they approached concerned citizens in the Ellsworth area to see if they would like to start a Beth Wright Cancer Resource Center in Ellsworth, which was a little bit more centrally located. And in 2004, the Beth Wright Cancer Resource Center came about.
All right. And from that start, something very special has grown.
Yeah. In September of 2004, which was the first program, when we started programs, there were some support groups in the area, but since that time, we now have support groups in 4 different towns in Washington County. We have a variety of programs. So, and in fact, I think we base what we do on the fact that Beth Wright was a cancer survivor and who saw some of the issues that were facing her, and we try and listen to cancer survivors we come in contact with and see if how we can help them.
Yeah. We're going to have some time to get
Yep.
to dig more deeply into the services you offer, but how about eligibility and fees?
No, all of our services are offered at no charge. It's for cancer survivors or family members, caregivers, and we say interested community members. So we really do welcome most anybody. And if there was a problem with space, we might, the community member might not get the preference of the cancer survivor. But having the community members come to our programs, we find is really a good way of getting them to know the issues surrounding cancer.
Yeah, fantastic. Mary, the Dempsey Center, could you tell us a little bit about your programs and again, eligibility and fees?
Sure. So we actually opened 4 years after the Beth C. Wright Center did. We opened March 31st of 2008, and we started very small with oncology counseling services and support groups. And then now we have grown to continuing the oncology support groups as well as the counseling services, youth and family programs, massage and Reiki and yoga, Pilates, Qigong, Tai Chi, nutrition counseling. There are HOPE programs for companions as well as for the cancer patient themselves. We strive to help the entire family, so it doesn't matter whether you're the patient or the caregiver or one of the family members themselves. And we also have a very inclusive volunteer program at the center.
Fees and eligibility?
Everything is free.
Yep.
And I will later on, if you are interested, talk to you about how we do that, but it's
Okay.
through a fundraising event. So everything is totally free.
Fantastic. So both of you, no fees, available to everyone. And it doesn't matter what kind of cancer you have. It doesn't matter where you are in your stage of treatment or diagnosis. It's just there and available.
And it doesn't matter where you live or where you're from.
Our service area is Hancock and Washington County, but we get an occasional call from people outside the county, and we certainly are able to
And
help
by the
them
way,
too.
do you have to be in Lewiston or in Ellsworth to
You
get
do
the
not.
services of the centers?
You do not. Anybody generally within a 2-hour radius will drive to the center to use our services, but they can also use our website or call in and use our services as well. Most often would be oncology counseling and or referrals, letting others know about great resources that are here in Maine or across the United States.
We have a lot of programs at the center. In the last few years especially, we've made a conscious effort to increase our outreach efforts. We found out that people from Washington County really can't make it into Ellsworth to come to our program. So we have support groups in different towns in Washington County, and our vision is that every cancer survivor will have access to support services in their own community in Hancock and Washington County.
Mark, let's get you involved because you come at this from a different perspective as someone who's fighting cancer and who knows many who are also fighting cancer. How valuable are these kinds of support services?
Without a doubt, vitally important. And I particularly like the emphasis that Mary gave and her program gives to the whole person and to the family. I loved your recitation of some of the alternative things. I personally am doing acupuncture as one of the ways to deal with actually side effects of the medication. But the cancer takes an emotional toll on the entire family. My cancer is prostate cancer, and that's often called the couple's disease, I think for very good reason. It presents significant problems for the partner of the patient, as well as to the couple's life together. I think my wife would tell you that she thinks I'm a changed person. She says I'm a changed person from the medications that I've been on. The MAINE Coalition to Fight Cancer, to fight prostate cancer, has 8 support groups around the state. My wife and I attend the support group for advanced prostate cancer in South Portland. We've also attended support groups run jointly by Dana-Farber, Beth Israel, and Mass General down in Boston. So I think that what's happening in Maine and what we're talking about here today is right on target for those of us who are dealing with cancer and our families.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. Are there, I understand you have gone to Boston for some services. Do you find that there are some gaps in coverage in Maine, either from your own experience or from those who are
Well,
also fighting cancer?
I've been really blessed with good doctors, both in Maine and in Boston. And so gaps that I find are really around the things that Mary
Right.
and Michael are addressing in
You
the
bet.
support way. I would like it if the advanced cancer, prostate cancer group in South Portland did more with partners, but we've had trouble getting partners to get involved and to do things. And I think there needs to be more initiative by the doctors to encourage people early in the diagnosis to work with, to get involved in those kinds of programs, to be aware of what the side effects are going to be, to talk about diet, to talk about exercise. You know, that was, even at Dana-Farber, that was missing for us, and we had to seek out our own nutritionist and physical trainer and so on about what we ought to be doing.
Mark just pointed out how cancer can affect families as well as patients. And Mary mentioned the family programs that exist at the Dempsey Center. Could you expand a bit on special opportunities for families?
Sure. We have an oncology social worker that runs a program, the Youth and Family Program, which encompasses the whole family. When there's a cancer patient, not only does it affect the patient, it affects the whole entire family. And so we work with the families to ensure that they're receiving all of the support that they need. There's also a teen program, there's a NOMO, Not on My Own, and there's lots of different programs for the children as well. And of course, the adult oncology clinical social worker pieces as well for support services.
Yeah. Michael?
Well, again, we involve family members can come to any of our programs, and we a lot of times we talk more with the caregiver, in fact, than we do with the person with cancer, because the caregiver is more able to talk about some of the issues that they're facing. So we do reach out to everybody, and we try and listen to everybody involved in things. It's interesting. We've had the oncology social worker from the Patrick Dempsey Center has put on a program at a high school in Washington County in collaboration with the Beth Center. So that's,
Mark, are you aware of other centers in Maine that
But
offer
I'm also
services?
smiling what Michael
Yeah.
said, because when my wife goes with me to see the oncologist who treats me,
Yep.
he spends as much time talking to her as he does to me. 'Cause
Well, yes.
she often has a better handle on things than I do.
And 2 years, 4 years are better than 2 when you're with your
You asked me
doctor.
about other
centers that
right.
offer support for free in Maine.
Well, there's the Lafayette Family Center, Cancer Center in Brewer, the Cancer Community Center in Portland, and South Portland, and that's actually where I go for my support group, and the Harold Alphonse Center in Augusta. And there are others too, but I would urge people to go to the website for the Maine Coalition to Fight Cancer to see some of the others that are listed. And I also understand, and I think I've heard a lot today, that many of these centers work cooperatively and
Yes.
get together, and some of them meet really regularly to share ideas. And I've seen that, how important that is. And for people who know, Dana-Farber's right across the street from Beth Israel. And it's practically one and the same. And they work together on research, support programs, and all those things. So I think that cooperation between centers is really critical. You also asked me about gaps. Let me raise one other aspect of something that I think needs attention. In a much more general sense than my personal experience. I think legislators probably everywhere, but especially in Maine, need to help with laws and policies and approaches that will make sure that people have more access to health care and health insurance. And I think that it's hard for me to imagine being diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer and not having an insurance. And that's a challenge. And I think the Affordable Care Act has increased coverage, and I would like to see our state do more.
Yes, I understand. Thank you for raising that point, by the way. Mary, back to collaboration. Have you
Yes.
personally been involved, has the Dempsey Center, with collaborating with many of these other centers?
Yes, we have. Certainly Beth Wright, we have, and the Cancer Community Center down in South Portland. And it's not about who has the most resources. It's all about the patient and how we can help one another. So when there's a MAINE Buddy program is a fine example from the Cancer Community Center in Portland, we have collaborated with them and also with Beth Wright to make sure that the patients are getting what they need. And it's a wonderful thing when you come together and share resources.
Has that been your experience, Michael?
It's been great. We meet 3 times a year for the last 2 years. And again, sharing ideas, sharing resources, and it's coordinating activities. And I think we're a model for how other organizations involved in dealing with cancer could work together. And I think there's more and more cooperation happening in the state, but the more the better.
And the MAINE Fund is something that we just recently have collaborated together on to make sure that we can give what is needed. And there's a process, of course, that goes with that. But
And when we think of collaboration coordination, we shouldn't forget the volunteers. My goodness,
Yes.
there you've got 1,000 people
1,000
working
for
on
the challenge and 250, a little under 250 for
Yeah,
the center.
You couldn't do it. The support service centers
Correct.
could not do it without
Thank you.
that manpower.
And we have 150 volunteers at,
Wow.
at the Beth Wright Center who volunteer
great.
some time during the year. And again, one thing is sharing of volunteers is something that we talk about. So
Yeah, it's good for everyone. Good for everyone. Yeah, I'd like to return a bit to services and think again about the cancer journey. There are probably tens of thousands of people in Maine who are either undergoing treatment or who have completed initial treatments and are in remission. These so-called survivors. And these people often need services beyond the narrow traditional medicine. And Mark, I wonder, from your experience, are we giving enough attention to the emotional and personal needs of
No.
many of these folks? Yeah, okay.
Which is why I'm so pleased to be here with 2 representatives of 2 centers who seem to be doing that. But I think that's one of the shortcomings that I've experienced was the 6 years ago we really had to find out a lot about the emotional impacts, not only of the disease, but of the side effects of medication, because every cancer medication is a powerful medication that has significant side effects. And I think those tie into the emotional thing, the emotional problems that are there. I think people are probably aware of the statistics that there's a high rate of depression with people who have cancer. I know that's true of prostate cancer. And so we need to support programs like Mary's and Michael's and the other ones that we've cited around the state, and make sure that they've got the means to pay attention to that.
And if I might mention, I've been fortunate that I am in remission now, but problems do not end with remission. And I know you both have programs for these so-called survivors, and they can be quite valuable as well. I don't want to forget. But I did want to, before we end, give you all actually an opportunity to touch on a topic that maybe we haven't been able to cover. Is there a special strength about your organization you'd like to mention, or an obstacle that you'd like us to know about?
Sure. So certainly we couldn't do what we do without all the funding, the great funding that we do from our donors and our sponsorships and corporations, as well as the largest fundraiser that we host every fall called the Dempsey Challenge. It's a run, walk, and cycling event, not a race, just an event. And folks come together from all over the world to support our services to keep everything free. So definitely go to our website and you can find out more about that. I won't date it because we have it every year.
Right.
Thank you.
What a deal. What a deal. Michael?
I think that one of the strengths of the Beth Right Center is that we have sort of, our coordinating community resources and basically involving the community in dealing with the issues surrounding cancer. And so we hear firsthand from all facets of the communities the issues facing them. And I think we involve them, give them the chance to actually be a part of the solution as well as just trying to do something for them. And so I think that's one of our strengths. And I think we also, I think, have been very successful in giving voice to their cancer survivors' concerns to different places that can help them. So I think it's been really a success story that one woman started a support group in 1998, and now 2011, it's really a known statewide.
Mark, something on your mind you want to make sure we get
Well,
on the table?
one of the things that occurs to me during this discussion is that my particular cancer, prostate cancer, comes in a variety of different forms. And for many men, watchful waiting or active surveillance works, or prostatectomy will work, and they'll be able to move forward. I was diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer and had no options along those lines. And when I first tried to find a support group, I couldn't find a support group for my particular slice. And I didn't want to go to a support group where people were trying to decide whether they'd have surgery or not, because that was beyond me. And I think different support groups that recognize different diseases, even within the different forms, even within the same disease, are an important, for me, has been very, very important. And that's, I was in on the very beginning of the startup of the advanced support group down in South Portland, and that's been important.
Sometimes we have trouble getting numbers because we're a smaller community. And what we have found valuable is, in regards to, say, prostate cancer, is we don't hesitate to call up representatives of the MAINE Coalition to Fight Prostate Cancer,
Terry.
and others, and other people to connect them, to connect people
Right.
who have issues and get their expertise. So I think, if you can't get a support group, I think and again with the Cancer Community Center's Buddy Program, we're able to connect people one-on-one with through the network that we've.
That's exactly what I was thinking of when you were saying that is the MAINE Buddy Program, because it enables you to have that one-on-one with someone that's in a like situation as you. So it works wonderfully. And then sometimes they might even have a resource for you that you weren't aware, or we weren't even aware. So it's very helpful.
Well, you do great things, and you are nonprofits, though. And,
Yes, we
Very
are.
much.
and you don't charge anything. So, thank goodness there are generous people in Maine. By the way, I think the word is out on the Dempsey Center.
Great. Thank you so much.
How about the Right Center? Is the word out there?
It's getting out there, but one of the things a lot of times people, if you're not affected by cancer, you're not even listening for the word. So we try and urge everybody, our board members, everybody who's ever come through the center, spread the word about the center. The more people hear about us in different places, the more likely they are to attend one of our programs. So we still need to spread the word.
Well,
And thank you for inviting us.
that's a great segue, because I'm asking our viewers to spread the words on these wonderful support centers. So thank you so much to our 3Ms, Mary, Michael, and Mark. We hope this program has provided some good information for our viewers. You're welcome to call us, that is the Maine Coalition to Fight Prostate Cancer, or to check out our website, which is www.mcfpc, Maine Coalition to Fight Prostate Cancer.org, where we will have a link to all of the websites and phone numbers we spoke about today. You can also call us at 855-552-7200, extension 800. We wish you good health, and we'll do anything we can to help you on your cancer journey.